pretty sure Transformers 3 burst a blood vessel in my eye. I'm not even kidding. Look at this. You see that? I wasn't there this morning. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sticky Floor Friday, the internet movie show that was looking back at my very first episode from a few years ago and was amazed at how far I've come. Here's a taste.
Welcome to Sticky Floor Friday. This is your weekend box office preview.
Yes, hello, and welcome to Sticky Floor Friday, your weekly box office preview. I am your host, the nerd with words. God, get that man an adrenaline shot, my God. But you know what? It's not about me today. It's all about Transformers: Dark of the Moon. And I saw this movie under duress, in that I did not want to see this movie. But I did go see it because I wanted to review it for you guys, because I love you. Now let's talk about Michael Bay for a second before we get into Transformers. Michael Bay, more than any other director, I think, has siphoned hours out of my life. The word I use most to describe him and his movies is bloated. And it's not just bloated on screen, but within the time-space continuum. Michael Bay has only made one movie under 2 hours, and that was his first movie, Bad Boys, in 1995. And you know how long that movie was? 118 minutes. 2 minutes shy of 2 hours. In fact, if you've seen every Michael Bay movie, you've spent 1,321 minutes staring at a screen. That's 22 hours of explosions, dead bodies, Anthony Anderson, animal crackers on stomachs, hot girls bending over things, and robot balls. I wonder what would happen, actually, if you did an all-day Michael Bay marathon.
Shit just got real.
Granted, Michael Bay has brought some good into this world, namely The Rock. And Bad Boys 2 gets this weird appreciation from people just for being dynamically ridiculous. But Michael Bay lost all goodwill with Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen, a universally reviled vortex of unchecked, misplaced testosterone. So what does Michael Bay do? He gets back on the mechanical horse and he charges ahead with Transformers: Dark of the Moon. He doesn't give a fuck. People are calling this the best in the series and way better than the second movie, as if that means anything. You're basically starting from nothing. Anything is better than the second movie. My shoe is better than the second movie. My first show is better than the second movie.
It's being called a crime comedy, but I think the real crime is this comedy was actually made.
But not by much. Unfortunately, for the first hour and a half of Transformers: Dark of the Moon, it feels like we're just watching Transformers 2.5. Everything you hated about the second movie remains intact in the beginning. You got the really awful, unfunny parents, the lame attempts at comedy, the wisecracking robots that use offensive stereotypical accents. Luckily, they've done away with the more overt, racist, jive-talking robots, and the robot balls, so that's good. After a strong 10-minute start that reveals the space race was actually so we could investigate an alien crash, we then settle comfortably in the same old lazy character development. Because people demand a human element in their films, we're once again following around Sam Witwicky as he tries to find a job. And that's a good chunk of the beginning of this movie, is Sam Witwicky going on job interviews. Also, he has an impossibly hot girlfriend. I don't know how he does it, but he's 2 for 2 with super hot girls. But he's not happy in the relationship because she treats him like a lapdog. He can't get any respect. Well, maybe you shouldn't date out of your league, buddy. That's a lesson for everyone. Don't date out of your league, because it's just going to lead to unhappiness. Now, I got off track there. His new girlfriend, by the way, is this girl, Rosie Huntington Whiteley, who, her performance is about this thin, and she just does this a lot, pouting. And look for one shot in particular towards the end where there's just mayhem all around her, and Michael Bay can't help but do a slow motion shot of her just staring vacantly, and I think she's trying to think, but I don't know, you be the judge. It's hilarious. And no one grows. There is no development in this movie. They're all in the same place at the end as they were in the very beginning, except they're a little dirtier. And that's fine for an action movie, except they're force-feeding this human element to us and saying, like, yeah, you should totally care about these characters, when all we really want to see is giant robots bashing into each other. And so you have to judge it on those merits, and in that respect, it totally fails. On top of that, there are a billion characters that have no business being in this movie. John Malkovich, what the hell is he doing in here? He's got this character that you expect to have a larger role in the grand scheme of things, and he doesn't. He's just there for bad comic relief that is neither comedic nor a relief. And then you've got John Turturro, who again is wasted, and Ken Jeong, who just can't stop being in movies and TV shows and everything. I think, Ken Jeong, we need a break, dude. It's not until urgency kicks in that Transformers finally sheds all this other stuff and becomes what it's supposed to be. Pure spectacle. Once they get to Chicago and shit blows up good, that is why people are in the seats. But you have to sit through a good chunk of an hour and a half of just really bad filmmaking.
You've made a grave mistake.
And pure spectacle it is. You will see giant buildings torn in half. You'll see robots ripped to pieces. You'll see people vaporized before your very eyes. And all that stuff is fun to watch. But I think my biggest problem with Transformers, with all the Transformers, has to do with the Transformers. In the cartoons, they all had distinct personalities, and you could always pick them out. These ones, it's just all weird parts, and no one has any real distinct personality except for different accents. That's pretty much how they distinguish each character. It's just like, oh yeah, this guy's got a Scottish accent, and I don't know, I guess that guy's French, and well, you know, Bumblebee doesn't really talk, so that's Bumblebee. And the two bigs, Optimus Prime and Megatron, are rarely seen throughout most of the movie. In fact, Optimus Prime just disappears for long stretches with no explanation. And then when he does show up, he just does some speechifying, and then literally for about a half an hour towards the end, gets tangled up in some wires. And he's just like, the most powerful robot, and he gets stopped by wires.
From here, the fight will be your own.
The 3D looks fantastic, but it really just amounts to nothing more than a tech demo. You're going to look at it and be like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. It's photorealistic, everything is flawless, but again, it's all surface, and it really just amounts to eye candy. And I'm not telling you anything you probably don't know. If you've seen the first two movies, you already know this. And I'm not going to try and deter you from seeing it, because look, if you saw the second movie and you still want to pay for the third one, by all means, go at your own risk. You know exactly what you're getting into. If I can't stop you from seeing this, I have two recommendations. The first one is, go see it in 3D, because if you're going to go big. And number two, watch the first 10 minutes, leave, go get a bite to eat, then come back an hour and a half later and see Chicago blown to shit.